Hi. Hopefully, you enjoyed the overview for diagnosis. This is Modular 3, the last module, and this is where we bring all the elements together, the leadership styles, the idea of what the task might be, and assessing now. We're going to concentrate in this part, assessing your people that you're working with so that we can have the right matchups of what they need to do. If you recall from the last video you saw, we're talking about matching competencies and competence. Okay, it's competencies, excuse me, and commitments. Okay, competencies and commitments. And in the four quadrants, you're going to see them labeled as D1, D2, 3, and 3, 4. When we look at D1, okay, and that is the bottom right hand side, the competence level of these people, and these people are generally considered the enthusiastic beginners. Okay, um, these are the people that are new to your school, new to your leadership team. They could be interns. All right, they could be interns. So their competence level is they're new to the goal or task. Right, they're inexperienced, relatively speaking, and they don't know what they don't know. In other words, the great experiences are beyond are in front of them. They're not in their toolbox already. Their level of commitment, they're eager to learn, they're curious, and they're willing to take direction. They're enthusiastic, they're excited, they're confident about transferable skills, and confident that learning won't be difficult. Therefore, their needs correspond to acknowledgement for the transferring skills. They need SMART goals, something that are specific, measurable, and can clearly be defined for them. Um, they need to have a sense of when things need to be happening and how they should be. If you recall earlier, I talked about how in a lot of incidences I was in, I did new teacher and new staff meetings bi-weekly. And it was really, besides the coffee and chocolate donuts, it was really an opportunity to get to know my new staff members, make them feel at home, but also to sort of review where they were in the school year, what sort of typical things they could expect to have happen, and how they could help plan forward of the next things they have to do. And in this regard, you could see I was trying to hit all of their needs, giving them feedback, um, give them concrete examples, give them calendars, timelines, anything like that, and also to open the floor to them to have them tell me what some frustration points were, so that I could redirect them. Redirect them. D2, all right. When we look at D2, these are individuals in terms of competence. They have some knowledge and skills. Um, they're learning. They're not quite there yet. They're not fully competent. They're kind of stuck. They don't know how to move forward. They may have some inconsistent performances and progress in their background. Their level of commitment is they may be discouraged and frustrated and may be on the verge and ready to quit, which of course is not ever what we want out of anybody like that. Um, they are confused, they're concerned, they're afraid of making decisions, particularly about uh, not making the right decisions. We usually find these people as people who are newer, not brand new. They're usually in years 2 to 5. Um, they're tired in a lot of ways of the next new thing because they're worn out a little bit, or the thing that they have to do. This aligns with the coaching and selling leadership piece of it. What we want to do here for these people, we have to understand where they're coming from. These are the people that the newness is worn off. They've gained some of experiences, but particularly if they haven't been handled well in their first year, they're getting frustrated. Okay, they're getting frustrated. It's also the group. If you're a new administrator, okay, um, they are those people that have been around a little while. They're not sure about you. Um, they They may have the assumption just because you're a new person, you're going to bring the new next thing. And if this organization has had a history of having turnover in leadership, this could be a really delicate quadrant for your team to be in. Because, quite frankly, they may adopt the attitude, we're just going to outlast you. And you're not going to have the opportunity to sell or coach this group. So their needs are something that you should be vitally aware of, okay? Um, and understand that because, generally speaking, if you're a new administrator in this position, okay, these are not your people, okay? Someone else brought them in. The newbies that I talked about in D1, you brought them in most likely, or pretty close to it. And psychologically, the people in D1 are your people. All right, you validated them. You accepted them and gave them a chance, so to speak, in this profession. In D2, these people are. If you're a new administrator, these may be people that were brought in by somebody else long ago, or like if there's a lot of turnover, or in the switches between people. So their their trust level is something that you have to adhere to. Um, they need to know that you're going to validate concerns of theirs. They need to know that um, what your perspective is, and they need to know that you're going to listen to their perspective on it. Okay, they want explanations why they're doing things, and they want rationale that makes sense to them. They want to be involved in some of the problem solving, but they don't want to be overburdened with being given all those tasks. Okay, they will. They have need for alternatives. They have need for advice. These are the people that need quite a bit of sort of a firm, soft hand, so to speak, in terms of uh, bringing them up. So you think of it this way: it's like what you were taught in teacher preparation classes. You're taking your class from where they are currently and make that assessment of where they are, okay, and you're trying to elevate them into another position. So we're looking for reassurance, encouragement, all of these things. When we look at an individual who's of a D3, their competence level is that they demonstrate some competence. They have some knowledge base and abilities of what they need. They have, as part of their track records, made productive contributions. They are pretty skilled and they are adept at what they're doing. In terms of commitment, these people in D3 are somewhat hesitant and unsure and maybe tentative. They're not always confident and they can be self critical. Um, they may sometimes show to be bored or apathetic, which may or may not be the reality of it. Okay, they may be bored or apathetic more as sort of a um, acceptable um, way to present themselves, but not necessarily there. Um, Again, I want you to think about it. Those whom you hired are your people, right? We talked about them in D1 and stuff, and you talked about D2. Many of these people in the faculty and staff in D3, they generally have more experience. They're in the 3 to 20 plus year experience area. They've seen many leaders come and go. One of the harsh realities of our education system is that we do have turnover in leadership. And turnover in leadership, what we're talking about commissioners in the state education department, where we're talking about district superintendents, whatever, um, there is a fairly steady sense of turnover in it. Stability is a luxury, which can be great. It also can be stagnating. Too much turnover could be too much mayhem and craziness. These people are the people that have been there a while. These are your veteran groups. Okay, they're not your people. Of generally are they're not your people, um, and they are an influential group. So if you're thinking in terms of the spectrum of the 20% rule, have you ever heard that? Okay, where 20% are really enthusiastic, 20 saying yes to anything, and 20% are absolutely the knowers, no, 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 no. And the middle 60% lean one way or the other, and they could go one way or the other. So this group has a tendency to be toward that back end. Okay, they're that back end. They may be. You may have some people in that group that are the no sayers automatically, very hesitant. They basically, will be kicking and screaming on everything you want to do. However, you know desperately you need their skills and their adaptation. So you're really going to try to get them in. So these are the people that you bring in on the committees. Okay, these are the people that you sit on the committee with them, or you sit with the group with them, and you are the one who is participating in what can be done with this group. You are the ones that are going to um, support and bring them along and make them partners in the decision making process. Okay, because these people you recognize, they need to be able to show you and others that they are in fact really competent in what they do. They also are people who, because of their hesitancies, they need to be able to say how they feel and what their concerns are about any task that you may or may not be doing. um, they need opportunities to test ideas without judgment. Okay, recognizing, as we all should in education, that the first step to learning or achievement is failure, and accepting the idea that there will be failure, and accepting that you know good good leadership and good participation is saying, okay, we fail. How do we learn from where we fail? How do we apply those new knowledges to what we know and go further? um, the leader needs to be able to ask really good and insightful questions to get them as a participant involved in what's going on. Um, it's important always to give a vote of confidence and encouragement to them. Remind them that they've had successes in the past because you're leveraging their abilities to bring the task forward. Okay. Finally, D4. um, these people are your rock stars. These are superstars. These are the people that, they're accomplished. They're consistently competent. They're recognized by their peers as being experts. As far as their commitment is concerned, they're self-reliant. They're autonomous, justifiably confident, self-assured. Um, when I teach coaching classes, I call this, the necessary arrogance. In other words, necessary arrogance is like a blade. You have to be very careful with it. Use the blade correctly, you can make amazing things, especially in the kitchen. Use it improperly, you can butcher something to death. So that's what we call necessary arrogance. It inspires confidence in those around them, um, without turning them off. Um, the person itself presents as being inspired, and this usually feeds off to other people. These people are your rock stars. They are your superstars. Um, this, as far as leadership goes, it lines up with delegating. These people's needs are trust. They need to have your trust as a leader. Um, they need to be the people that get the credit as experts, as contributors. They need big space to be able to be creative of what they're doing and be innovative of what they're doing. Essentially, your role with this group is pretty simple. How can I help you get better? What do you need? More coffee, more donuts? What do you need? Technology, more learning. Um, they need challenges. Okay, and that's important to understand. These are the people who are your vehicle, your major vehicle, to really testing out things and seeing growth of new ideas and what have you. When we look here, all right, I like this chart. This is a chart that recognizes, even within the competencies and commitments that we have with people, there are variations here. And as you can see here, okay, you can follow path lines of individuals that you're talking about or with the group, depending on how you're assessing. So this is good for assessing either a collection of individuals that you want to collaborate on a task with, or for individuals within the group that you're collaborating with. Okay. All right. And finally, what we have here are our activities um, to sort of check our understanding for diagnosis and be able to actually take it out in the field. And what I want you to do is, I want you to be able to check, make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of what diagnosis is. But I also want you to have the ability and the opportunity to go out and test some of these diagnoses. And then, of course, reflect back in the dialogue box. All right? So, good luck. Replay the video as many times as you need, especially about the different levels and what they require.